We're learning new details about the strike Israel launched against Iran on October 26th. The move was in retaliation for the ballistic missile barrage Iran fired at Israel on October 1st. The satellite imaging company Planet Labs released these photos showing damage from the Israeli attacks at two different military facilities within Iran. Analysis of the photos taken from space shows several buildings were hit. At least some were completely destroyed. These sites were believed to be used to create many of the components Iran uses to make its missiles and drones. Israel said it used around 100 aircraft to carry out the operation, and all of its military objectives were achieved. The IDF released video of some F-15s and 16s preparing for the mission, but the loadout on these planes suggests they were primarily used as refuelers for Israel's F-35 stealth fighters, which likely carried out the actual strikes. Before flying into Iran, though, Israel reportedly took out some radar sites and anti-air sites in Syria and Iraq. I'm not sure of exact locations. Those aren't necessarily being released, but Israeli media is reporting that the IDF, the Air Force, did take out sites in Syria and Iraq, thus creating a relatively clear path from Israeli airspace into Iranian airspace. And once over Iran, the Israeli Air Force was able to operate freely. There is video of Iranian anti-aircraft artillery firing into the skies, but F-35s can easily avoid such rudimentary defenses. And that message is almost as impactful as the strikes themselves. Israeli planes were operating in Iranian airspace for hours. The bulk of the targets, we know that a couple of sites and provinces located on the border of Iran and Iraq here were hit, as well as a site just south of Tehran, the capital city, which is, I don't have a map in front of me, but I think it's somewhere about in there. Not exact, I'm not a cartographer, but two provinces in southwest Iran were hit, as well as one site south of Tehran, the capital city. But like I said, the Israeli planes flying in Iranian airspace for hours, they had the ability and opportunity to inflict much more damage on Iran, but they didn't. Instead, in addition to the missile and drone making sites, the Israeli Air Force hit several, up to 20 military targets, mainly radars and Russian-supplied air defense systems. Taking those out means any future assault by the Israeli Air Force will almost certainly encounter far fewer defenses. It's almost exactly what Avi Melamed said would happen when I interviewed him right after the Iranian ballistic missile attacks. By not hitting nuclear sites and by not taking out Iran's energy infrastructure or important monuments to the regime, Israel's response leaves room for escalation if Iran chooses to retaliate for the retaliation. Now, initially, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, said Israel's strike should not be exaggerated or downplayed, but that he did not want a war with Israel. A few days later, however, the Iranian Foreign Ministry said the regime will use all available tools to respond to Israel. Of course, a lot of that is likely bluster because, quite frankly, Iran just doesn't have a lot of tools left to use with which to attack Israel. The Israeli defense minister said Hamas in Gaza, which is right here, and Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, in this area, have all been rendered as ineffective proxies for Iran, taking away the possibility for the Iranian regime to launch a ground attack against Israel. Iran's air force is laughably inferior to Israel's, and the regime's ability to make missiles and drones was just severely limited. So while Iran's leaders may make plenty of public statements about the need to hit back against Israel, there's a growing belief the recent tit-for-tat nature of strikes between the two archenemies may be coming to an end. For more of our reporting on the war between Israel and Iran's axis of resistance, be sure to download the Straight Arrow News app today or log on to san.com. For Straight Arrow News, I'm Ryan Robertson.